just for the folks here in Sarasota, a quick thumbnail sketch of Whitey and the way when you talked about personalities and the way he attacked the game from a broadcast standpoint, it's hard to explain Whitey in Nebraska, but try to do it in a thumbnail sketch for us, will you?
Well, Whitey had his own style, Don, as you well know. He and Harry were great together. Whitey just there wasn't any preparation involved.
Nothing.
He didn't think that was part of the game. In fact, you're lucky. When he got on the bus, he didn't even know who was pitching that night. He didn't spend much time worried about those kind of things. One of his mottos was, "Boys, my job begins when the game starts," and that's basically the way he did the game. And he had that great Nebraska sense of humor, and he and Harry were just tremendous together. They played off each other very well. Harry played straight man for him, and they were terrific. They were the voice of Philadelphia baseball for so long. Andy and I kind of did our thing, and people accepted us. But it was Harry and Whitey, and rightfully so. And they were just great. They were good friends. And I'm not trying to plug anything, but I did a book last year about my 40 years in the game called View from the Booth, and I talked a lot about Richie and Harry in that booth and memories of some of the fun that we had over the years and the old days. And, I had a lot of great memories, and many of it was spent with those guys on the air, and a lot of it was spent with them off the air.
Wheels, who is that number 5 down there on a
Well, one of his great lines was he'd have a guy in the game, and we'd say, "Well, no, Whitey, they sent him out last week." And he, of course, would say, "Well, why'd they do that?" Not that he didn't know who the guy was or that he wasn't in the game. It was like it was the team's fault for getting rid of a guy that he had in the game that was gone for a week. So, yeah, he never let that get in the way of his. And I think that he used to tell us that when he would make mistakes and do things like that was part of his charm. One night he did a pregame show, Don, and he may have even been on your show. With Don Zimmer, and neither one of them knew who the pitchers were that night, and he didn't stop the show and start over. That was just the way he did it.
Well, he was. I'll tell you could not duplicate Whitey. He was just an identity in himself. He was terrific. But let's get to the present day, and you've had a great club. We've had some ups and downs. I can remember back in '93 when the Wild Man threw that pitch to Carter, and after that, things sort of went downhill for a long period of time. But, boy, the last 3 or 4 years, Wheels, you've had a great franchise to represent.
Well, I've been lucky, Don. I started out in the early 70s. It was terrible. And then, of course, the Phillies had a great run. Couldn't get to the World Series and then did and won one and got to another World Series, had another down period. And now, right now, this is the best. There's no doubt about it. I look back, and the guys, when they won in '80, I was happy because they were my guys. We were all around the same age, and they'd been through so much disappointment. But this group right now, to go to consecutive World Series, hey, the Phillies have the 3 best players in their history playing at the same time, and Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins. I don't know. You could look at a lot of organizations, even the great Yankees, never necessarily had their greatest players playing at the same time the way this, like Mantle comes in for DiMaggio, and those, you look over the years and those kind of things. So right now we're in the best age of Phillies baseball, and the fans they just love it. We have a great ballpark in Philadelphia. We have a great spring training facility here in Clearwater, and it's tremendous. It's so much fun to be a part of this.
Chris, you do both the TV and the radio. Obviously, TV, you kind of do more of a caption, kind of a play-by-play, but not too many announcers get to do both sides anymore. It used to be you had the 3 announcers, and you kind of trade off between TV and radio. Do you like doing both?
Well, yeah, and we've started to do that over the last couple of years. I'm more on television now than radio. The only thing I do on radio now is I'll fill in once in a while when we have a Fox game or an ESPN game where we're not allowed to do local television. I'll fill in on radio a little bit. And I do the Charlie Manuel. I've done the manager show since '89, starting with Nick Leva. So I do the manager show every night, and that's always fun to do a show with Charlie because he's a beauty. I do miss radio in a way. I like television. Hey, Don will tell you, I just love baseball. So I'm a baseball rat, and I'm just so happy to be fortunate enough to be able to do this for this many years. And I'm on television now, and that's fine. That's great. And when I get a chance to do radio, I enjoy that too. And as you guys know, there's 2 different skills involved in doing television and radio, and you just deal with that and learn how to do it over the years. But it's just a thrill to be a part of a broadcast team in the town where I grew up.
The other thing, Wheels, that maybe you'd address a little bit is Charlie Manuel, because when he first came in, of course, he was great friends with Tommy and had been in Cleveland with Tommy together. And there was somebody that was, I had a long chance to chat with him last Sunday. We had a record crowd here, in Sarasota last Sunday when the Phillies were in. Biggest crowd they've ever had for a ball game here. And so I had a chance to talk to Charlie at great length. We were kidding back and forth about some of the things. But when he first came into Philly, sort of a misunderstood manager because of his personality being from the South and low-key. And boy, did that turn around.
Well, Don, you spent a long time in Philadelphia, and it can be tough. You have to prove yourself. And, we have some talk show people in Philadelphia have a tendency to disparage.
You have talk show people there?
I'm trying to be nice. Who try to disparage people. They make their living doing that, and they really don't care about what they do to people personally. And you're right. They attacked Charlie personally, which was just wrong. He understands if you disagree with whether you do this, that, or the other thing in the course of a game. But yeah, they made fun of him like he was some kind of hillbilly dope. And those of us who were lucky enough to be around and knew what a smart baseball man he was and how he had control of that clubhouse. And he was not good time Charlie, Uncle Charlie. He was a tough guy who they also really loved and respected. And, I from day one thought that this club had a chance to be pretty good with him as a manager. I'm not going to tell you win a World Series, but you thought they had a chance. And it was unfortunate that a couple people did that to him, and it did. They do influence others. There's no doubt about it. Well, now it's totally turned around, and everybody loves Charlie and realizes how competent he is, what a great guy he is, what a good person he is. But it's unfortunate he had to go through that. Some of that's still stuck a little bit, and you'll still hear people, disparage him personally and everything, and that's what really bothered him. But you know what? You got to have thick skin, as he said. I've had bypass surgery, I've had cancer, I've had this, that, and the other thing, and I won't use the guy's name, but he says, you really think I'm going to let so-and-so bother me? So, that basically is, he's recovered from all that. And he's a hero now, Don. He may be the most popular guy who's ever managed in Philadelphia, and certainly has to be considered the most successful.
Wheels, thank you so much, and best of luck this year. We'll have a lot of fun seeing you along the trail.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I'll see you in Philly. Thanks, I enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.